person first. You have to make sure the person forgives you.
But he did go to him. He told him do that.
Right.
He's like, you know what?
The one was a helping nature.
Do it in order to get the forgiveness from him.
I hear, Jason.
Okay, so you just said you can't hide behind your religiosity. But that's, if you look at the words in the story, I don't know what it is in Aramaic.
You got it.
But why did the people say
Yes!
that he could hide because he's a great, forgive me because he's a great
Fantastic!
servant?
We've been learning together on Wednesdays. Yeah, that's great. That's exactly right. It's an unbelievable point. Listen to what the guy says. He says, I forgive him for who? For you guys.
Right.
Why for you guys? The man is sorry. He's running after him. He's pleading, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. And you should forgive him already. It's maybe too much. It's not too much. But he's asking forgiveness. And the guy says, you know what? I really don't forgive him. I'll forgive him for you. That's crazy. Fantastic. Great. Okay. Let me add one other point here that we have to realize. You know, the Talmud is not interested in details that are extraneous. There's a lot of details here. There he is. He's strolling on. He's on his donkey, riding on. Who cares? He's on his donkey. No, who cares? We're not, we're not zoologists. What do he on his donkey for? He's on his donkey. He's strolling along the riverbanks. Who cares? He comes from a town called Migdal Gador. Who really cares? Just skip that. Just say, tell me the basic facts. Just tell me that this man came over to the rabbi called him ugly, and go on with it. Why do you need this whole story? On the donkey strolling on the riverbanks. It's bizarre. And then afterwards, when the guy says to him, Larry said before, tell the craftsman maybe he makes ugly things. The guy says, oh, I've sinned. What does it say? Again, more details. What does he do? He gets off the donkey. Very nice. He could have follows him. What are these details for? Okay? Let's try to understand this. First of all, this is a trick question. So nobody get tricked. Has anyone here been to Israel? Show of hands. Who's been to Israel? Has anyone here been to a town called Migdal Gador? Where the rabbi was from, where he was learning? Has anyone been to a town called Migdal Gador? No? No one's been there? You've not been there. You know why you've not been there? It does not exist. Doesn't exist. That's exactly what it is. This is actually what Matt was hitting on before. Let's get the words. The word Migdal, you know what it means? It means a tower. And Gedor is from the word Geder, a fence. Gedor means he's fenced in. This rabbi came from the place called High Ivory Tower, fenced off from everybody else. That's where he came from. He was coming from a very, very high and lofty place, learning from his rabbi. And it says that he was riding on his chamor, on his donkey. Now, every word in Hebrew has a meaning here. The word chamor, which means donkey, also is the word chomer. Chomer means physicality. Because the donkey is the most physical of animals. Everyone here ridden a donkey? Ever ride a donkey? It's quite an amazing experience. You can smash the donkey. And it takes 3 steps and it stops. And you smash it, and it stops. It's bizarre. I remember I was in Israel, I was on a kibbutz, and I went to sleep at night, and it was a donkey that was standing, staring at the wall. And I woke up the next day, and I looked, and he was still staring at the wall. And it was still at the wall. It was just like, a donkey is physicality. And it always represents that. That's what it is. It's an amazing statement. Talmud says the donkey is even cold. Is even cold in the summer. Donkeys are cold. And I heard from my rabbi one time. He said that the life force that gives you heat is not in the donkey. The donkey's cold. He's cold. He's physical. It doesn't mean the rabbi is riding on his donkey. It means he had now gone above his physicality. He's in spiritual land. He's floating up there, riding above his donkey, riding above his physicality, feeling so spiritual. But the problem is he's strolling along the river. The water is flowing, and he's not guarding himself. It was very nice. You were learning, but now guard yourself. Don't start to become complacent. He's strolling along the river. The water's flowing, and he loses it. And at that moment, he starts to feel too proud. Now, at that moment, God sets up, he meets a person. And this guy comes along to him, and the person is a man who just, hey, the rabbi's going. The rabbi looks at him. Look, notice, as Emily said before, the first word he said was not "you're ugly." His first word was what? Vacant one. The rabbi was giving him what's called musar. He was giving him rebuke. He saw how he related. He said, listen, I don't get you. You're spiritually deprived. Not physically ugly. I don't care about that. But I don't understand you. The way you relate. Sir, don't you understand? You're spiritually not developed. Get yourself together. He told him the right lesson. He saw this guy was not spiritually refined. He came over, the hat's going around the half. He realized this man was not there. Vacant one. You're spiritually not connected. You're ugly spiritually. Is this the way people in your city live? Is your city a wild place? That's what I thought. What did the man say to him? This is what he said. Amazing. He says, listen, he says, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe I am spiritually deficient. So why don't you go and tell God that He makes things that are for no reason? Because you know why, Rabbi? You may be high and holy, but you blew it. You missed out. Because your job was to see that there's something very special about me. That was your job. If God made me, there's something unique and special about me that is beyond what you could imagine. Tell the craftsman, tell God He makes things for no reason. Because I may not be spiritually developed like you are, that's true. But your attitude is totally wrong. Because you have to look inside of me and say, oh my gosh, look at this great vessel that God made. And you called me ugly. You missed the point, Rabbi. The rabbi says, oh, I did, he's right. He gets off the donkey. Why? Because he's not on the level to be above his physicality. He says, forgive me. Like, I won't forgive him. He's chasing after this man, and I won't forgive him. And now the man gives him the ultimate, we call shtoch. He gives him the ultimate shot. Why? All right, says, forgive me. I won't forgive you. People say he's very great. He knows a lot of Torah. The man says, you know what? I don't know if you're a great person or not. I have no idea. I don't know. I know these people gain something from you. And therefore, it's enough to forgive because of that. Because now I know there's something special in you that they have. And that alone is worth it to forgive you. And that's what you should have done with me. You should have found something special in me that you saw, that for that everything else was irrelevant. You could talk to me, but you should have to find something beautiful in me. And that's what you didn't do for me. And I will forgive you now because for them, you're a scholar. I don't know if you're a good guy or not. I don't know. But I know you have something beautiful. That alone I'll forgive you. And that's what you have to see. And the rabbi hears that, he says, a person should always be, as I said before, soft as a reed and not hard like a cedar. Why? Because the reed, the amazing thing about a reed is when the wind blows, what does it do? It comes all the way down. When the wind blows on a cedar, it can uproot the cedar. But the reed, however high it grows, he's very spiritual, he goes very high. He can always come down. And that is why, in Jewish law, the Sefer Torah, the Torah is written with a reed. Because it takes the highest ideas and brings them down to everyone, to touch everyone in their heart. That's the reed. You got to be soft like a reed. You got to grow spiritually, but you got to be able to come down to relate and to see the beauty in every single person. That's what you got. Now, I want to do something now. I want to apply this now. So how does this work? How does this practically work? Let's try to apply it now. Let me give you a case that happened in Israel. I've lived in Israel for many years. Now, in Israel, there was a guy in my building who used to smoke cigarettes in the elevator. Now, we'll call him Yossi. We'll call him Yossi because I don't want to reveal his name. It's on tape here. So let's say that, and I would come to the elevator and say, listen, Yossi, I'm gagging there, stop. No boy up. I said, you're killing me, no boy up. That's the problem. So he keeps smoking. Now, this goes on 1 day, 2 days, it just keeps going on. Now, this is a true story. One day, I walk into the elevator, and as soon as I walk in, I'm like, oh gosh, Yossi was here, the elevator stinks. Can't even walk in there. Should I think it's Yossi? No.